You. So today I have made this video to understand how we can use Firebase to sign up the users, to register the users, and also using the same method to log them in if they're already registered with us. So I have this basic app in front of me. I've removed all the unwanted things from here. So we will start with the creation of our project into our Firebase. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to go to the Firebase console. You go to console.firebase.google.com. You log in with your Google account, and then we are going to create a project. So it's going to ask us for a project name. I'm going to call this Firebase Authentication. I'll click on continue. We don't need Google Analytics, so I'll just disable it, and I'll click on create project. So once this is done, it is going to ask us for a few steps, whenever we start integrating with our any kind of app like iOS or Android. So for now, I'm going to make this video for the Android part, and the process is very much same for the iOS part. You just have to follow the on-screen instructions to implement a few things. Okay, so our project is ready now. So the first thing that we need to do is we'll go inside the authentication and we click on get started here. And what we are going to do is I'm going to use the email and password authentication. So I'm going to enable this email and password. I'll click on save and you can see now this is enabled. So I'll move back to my project overview and now I'm going to add it for the Android. So I click on the Android here. The first thing that's it's asking me is the Android package name. So where is the Android package name? As you can see here, the package name is in the app, is the application ID, and it's inside the app level build.gradle. So I'll go to here and my Android app and app level build.gradle is this one. Android, this is our project, and this is the app folder, and this is the build.gradle. So the application ID is right here inside the default config. You can see the application ID. So I'm just going to copy this from here and I'll paste this over there. All right, so I have pasted this here. It's asking me for a nickname, so I'll just say Firebase sign in and I'll click on register app. So the nickname is entirely optional. You can either enter it or you can even leave it blank. So it doesn't make any difference. So now this is the Google Services JSON file. You have to download this file onto your computer and put it inside this app folder. So I'll just go ahead and download it. Okay, make sure whenever you're downloading it, there is no incremental numbers or anything here. The name should purely be Google Services, Google-Services. I'll click on save. I've already have this file downloaded, so I'll just click on replace. Okay, so the file is downloaded now. I'll go to my downloads folder. You can see that the file is here. I'll just copy this file from here. I'll go to my app folder here and I'll just paste it. Okay, you can see that the file is here now. So I can close this now. We don't need to do anything over here. I'll move back to here. I'll click on next. So now it will ask us to add some dependencies and inside the app level build gradle and project level build gradle. So the first thing we will do is we need to copy this one right here, this class path dependencies. And where we need to paste this inside the project level build gradle. So our project level build dot gradle is this one. So this is our project, this Android and the name, and this is the project level build.gradle. So we go inside the dependencies and I will add this here. The next thing that we need to do is we need to add this, we need to apply these plugins. So this is inside the app level build gradle. So I'll go to the app level build.gradle. Okay, it's already open. So this is the app level build.gradle. As you can see here, so we need to apply this plugin. So this is the plugin com.android.application, which is already here. So we don't need to copy and paste that again. The next one is Google Services. So I'll just copy it and this is not here. So I'll just paste it over here. Okay, so the next thing is the implementation platform. We will add this inside the dependencies and the dependencies are down below. All right, here they are. So I'll add the dependencies here. So as you can see, this is pretty much fine. This is working fine right now. We have not done anything huge and our app is now integrated with our Firebase. So I'll just click on continue to console. Okay, so you can see that the Android part is here. The next thing that we need to do is we need to add the Firebase packages. So the first package that I'm going to add is the Firebase authentication package. So I'll go to Firebase auth. I'll click on the installing, and right here I'll just copy this. I'll go to my pubspec.yaml. It's right here. I'll go inside the dependencies and I will paste this here. So there's another package that we would be needing, which is Firebase Core. So I'll just go ahead and add that one too. So this is the Firebase Core. All right. So we have copied this as well, and I'll add this here. And then we will run pubget. Okay, so the pubget is running. It will say exited with code 0, which is what we need. It's taking, okay, it's done. All right, so we'll go back to our main.dart. Okay, it's asking us to get dependencies. So let's just click here and get the dependencies as well. So inside our this screen, inside our main.dart, we will create different buttons here. We will create different buttons to log in and register as per our requirements. So I'll create a body, and my body will be a column. Okay, my body will be a form. I'm sorry, my body will be a column. I'll rather wrap this inside a container or padding, and we'll add the padding later if we need it. So our column will have children, and our children will be elevated button. So on pressed for now, I'm going to keep null, and the child will be a text widget, which will say login now. All right. So similarly, I'll create one more button here, and that one will say register. I'll just add some padding from the sides, or I'll just increase this to something more so we can. Okay, so now it's good enough. We have two buttons here, the login and the register button. So what I will do is I'll create two different screens here. So the first one is going to be a login screen. Okay, so this is going to be a stateful widget. And I'll just import material.dart. All right, so we are good now. So what this is going to do is I'm going to say that this is going to return a scaffold. So our scaffold will have an app bar, and this app bar will have a title, and our title here will be of type text, which will say login screen. Great. So let me just go back to our main.dart file and navigate the login button to the login screen. So what we will do is we will use the navigator.push. So the context will be a context and route will be a material page route. So the builder is going to take in a context. And it's going to return the login screen. All right. So we are done with this here. So now once I click on the login now button, it should take me to the login screen. As you can see, it has taken me to the login screen. So inside the login screen, what we are going to do is we are going to give it a body, and my body here is going to be a form. So the form is going to have a child, and the child will be a column. And this is then going to take children, and the children will be text form field. So the text form field is going, I'm just going to add some decoration, so that is more visible. We can see it more clearly. So the decoration that I'm going to add here is going to be input decoration. So the input decoration will take some border, and the border just going to use the basic one, the outline input border. Okay, so now once I save this, you can see that we have one text form field here. I should probably add some padding here, so it's more clear. Okay, I've added some padding so we can see something. It's more visible. So I'll just add a hint text, and my hint text is going to be enter email here. Okay, we have our hint text there. And I'm just going to replicate this text form field for the password as well. So for the password, I'm going to say enter password here. And then I'm going to have a button. Let me just add some gap here. I'll just use a sized box. So the height of the size box, I'll just say it's 20. And I'll add a button here. It's going to be elevated button. So for now, it's going to return a null, and the child will be of type text, and this would say login. Okay, so you can see, I'll just add the box here as well. All right, so we have our login screen. It's a very basic screen. We haven't done anything like too much hi-fi here, so it's all good here. So we'll create some text editing controllers for our email and the password. So we have a text editing controller. I'll call it email, and I will say text editing controller. And the next one is going to be again a text editing controller for the password. Okay, so we have two text editing controllers here, and I'm going to assign those controllers to here as well. So this one is for the email, and for this one, it's going to be for the password. Okay, so before we add, functions to this, or we try and make login work, we first need to register our user. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the entire code. I'm going to create a new Dart file by the name of registration screen. Okay, I'll call it register user, and I'm going to copy and paste this here, and also I'll just change the name here from login screen to the registration screen. All right, so we have changed the name from login screen to the registration screen. I'll just change the title of the app bar, and I'll call this register user, and right here I will say register user. All right, so I'll go back to my main.dart, and similarly as I added the navigator to go to the login screen, I'll just use it here for the register screen. Okay, it's registration screen. Okay, so once I come back to my home page, I click on register. It has now taken me to the registration screen. So now, whenever we are going to use the registration screen, we are also going to create a function, and to create that function, what we need, the first thing that we need to do is we go to our main.dart. Inside our main.dart, we need to initialize the Firebase. And to initialize the Firebase, we are getting that thing from the Firebase core package. So what I will do is I'll import the Firebase core package. Okay, so I've imported it, and now I will initialize it here. And to initialize it, I'll await. It's coming from the internet, so it might take some time. So I'm going to use await here. So what it's going to wait, it's going to wait for the Firebase. Okay, I'll first need to make this async and then I'll use await. Firebase dot initialize app. So this is what we are going to do. Also, we have one main thing that we need to do here. After the Flutter made some changes, there have been quite a few things that have changed. So what we need to do here is we need to make sure that the widget binding for the Flutter is initialized. So the another function that is already provided us by the Flutter is widgets Flutter binding dot ensure initialized. So this is what we are going to do. So what this function basically does is it makes sure that all the widgets in the Flutter app are initialized before the app is run. So that makes our app more proactive. It makes it more useful and more understandable in terms of how everything is working. So I'll just save this thing here. I'm just going to go and give it a hot restart. I just want to make sure that we don't have any errors here. Let me just hot restart it again. Okay, it says missing plugin exception, no implementation found for method Firebase initialized code. Let me just see where it's coming from. Okay, it's coming from here. It says that the implementation is not found. So the implementation is not found as we have not implemented anything yet. So I'll just go back to the register user screen. So how we register the user? To do that, it's a very simple process. We don't need a lot of things here. I'll just take you back to the Firebase auth. This one right here, I'll go to the README. And if you go to the README, you can see the documentation here. So if you look at this page, it's a very useful page. I advise you all to read it completely. So you can see there are different things that are need to be done here. And down below, you will see using Firebase authentication. I'll just select this one. And what I will do next is if you scroll down, you will see that here is the registration part. I'll just copy this here. Okay, and I'll use this inside our code. I'll create a function here. I'll call this function future register user. So this function is going to be an async, and inside here I'll paste everything. And also I'm going to import our Firebase auth library. So you can see, and the email and password are currently manually entered. So what we will do is we'll use our text editing controllers to enter the email and password. So here it was email and it is of type text, and same thing for the password, it's pass dot text. All right, also once this is done, I'll need some print statements. I'll add some print statements. So if this is successful, it will say user signed in successfully. Sorry, user registered successfully. Okay, so you can see, so now let me just take you through what exactly is being done here. So this function, it's going to try if the user credential, which is provided to us by the Firebase authentication package, it will await for an instance. An instance is this one, create user with email and password. This is also provided to us by the Firebase authentication. And inside this, we have to provide two parameters in the body. The first one is the email and the second one is the password. So the first one, email, we have provided it from email.txt, and the password is from password.txt. So if this is successful, it will say, it will print user registered successfully. Okay, and if that is not the case, it's an exception case. So what this will do is it will take e.code is equal to weak password. So what this is doing is if the exception is weak password and the code is equal to that, So it will say that the password provided is too weak. And if the email is already in the use, email is already registered with us, it will print that the account already exists for that email. And then it will catch the error and print that error for us. So let us just go ahead and try this. And how we are going to do that, I'm just going to call this function with that button, the register button we have created. Let me just put this in, you know, in the float window so it's more visible. All right. So I'll enter an email here. My emulator is not working. What's wrong? Let me just stop the app and run it again. Okay, so the app is running. It might take some time, you know, it's usually slow. So I'll just wait for it to complete. So meanwhile, you can see that we have already, you know, initialized the Flutter bundling. We have initialized the app. And the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to use this inside our app. So I'll click on the register now. Okay, so I'll enter the email here, and the email I will say it's abc@xyz.com, and the password I will say here it is abc@123. So I'll click on register. Okay, you can see that this ID that you see here is the user ID, and you can see it says that the user is registered successfully. So if I go back to my Firebase authentication, you know, I click on the authentication here, you can see that we have an identifier, we have that email address, which is abc@xyz.com. And if you match this user ID, this is completely same as that user ID. So this is how we register our user. So, you know, and about the password errors, let us just go ahead and check that too. Okay, I'll just change the email address by one word. Okay, I'll just type the password as ABC. And now if I click on register, you will see it says that the password provided is too weak. Okay, and now if I enter the email ID, the same email ID again and click on register, okay, it says that the password provided is too weak. So let me just add something here. And I click on register, you can see that the account already exists for that email. So for this email, we already have an account registered. So let me just create one more email ID here and I'll call that uh, test@abc.com, and the password, I'll use the same password abc@123. Okay, I'll click on register. So we have another user that is registered successfully. So we have two users registered now. If we go back to our Firebase, we refresh this, we should see two users. Okay, you can see the first one we have is test1@abc.com and the second one is abc@xyz.com. So let us come back to the login screen. Okay, so in the login screen, we are going to use a very similar method. So I'll go back to my login screen. I'll create a function. It's going to be a future and I'm going to call it login user. So this function again is going to be an async. And what we are going to do here is we will go back to the documentation, and inside we have the sign in. So I'm just going to copy this one and I'll just paste it over here. And I'll just import our libraries. Okay, so everything is imported now. So I'll print here user logged in successfully. Okay. So now let's go ahead and try this, and also we will need to, pass on the text editing controllers here. So for here, it's email.text, and for this one, it's pass.text. Okay, so we are done with this part here, and we'll just call this function inside that button over here. And this function here, it will say login user. All right. So now let's go ahead and open a run window over here so we can see what's happening. I'll say abc at xyz.com and I'll enter the password abc at 123. I'll click on login now. Okay, you can see that it says user logged in successfully. So let me just make an error for the password abc at 1234. I click on login now. It says wrong password provided for that user. It's actually matching the email, but the password is not there. So let me just go ahead and change the email address. I'll click on login now. It says no user found for that email. So the process is pretty simple. It's nothing hard or anything that you need to be worried about. You can definitely go through the entire documentation provided to us, and it's a very simple way, it's a very easy way to do that. The next thing I'm going to do, the next video I'm going to make, will cover on how we can use Google sign in, Facebook sign in, Apple sign in, to match or to make a user subscribe or log in. So I guess this video was useful for all of you, and make sure I make my content more specific, more better. I love to have your comments, and let me know anything or everything that you need me to cover uh, during related to Flutter, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you and have a great day. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Your support is all I need. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.